Breakthrough was Hinds' first rated and maybe even uploaded demon level. In this level you can see elements of his well-known style start to take form, and as to be expected, it isn't as polished as some of his later releases. For example, the last cube utilizes some interesting gameplay with slopes. It's just not that well executed, but he would then make up for it later with a very similar part in Dance Massacre. This is also a half memory, half skill based level, where going forward Hinds would mostly stick to skill based gameplay with a learned touch, until his latest release where he would use this 50-50 approach, but of course to a much better result. This level leaves a lot to be desired. Mainly I found the music sync to be the most lacking, but overall the level still holds up. Most of the level plays well and quickly gets consistent. However, the first ship has one huge choke point, and the last cube unfortunately feels a bit clunky. Ninth Step is a level that feels very much inspired by Deadly Clubstep. One thing to note about this level is the many ball timings, which would later become the bread of Hinds' gameplay, but only with visible spikes of course. I am not a huge fan of this level, but after all this level is not much of a serious project, just an attempt at making a Clubstep remake as hard as Hinds could at the time. Ressurection is a vast improvement from Breakthrough. This is the first level that started to feel and look very much like your typical Hinds style level, and you can clearly see that this is one of the predecessors to some of its most popular levels. But there were still plenty of room for improvement. It had a lot of off-screen moments. These were of course more common back then, and the level felt a bit empty visually. However, Hinds' next demon would smooth out these shortcomings. Dance Massacre is the level where Hinds really came into his own, commercially and artistically. The gameplay, the music sync, the song and the design all came together to form a truly great experience from start to finish. As a result of this being uploaded in early 2.0, this level looks like a crossover of a 1.9 and 2.0 level. But somehow this works to the level's advantage, as it has a very distinct look. I don't think anyone could confuse this with any other level. The cube part I mentioned earlier is here, and is easily the most fun cube part I've ever played. This one really doesn't need a whole lot of talking. It speaks for itself. Firewall is a level where I had the pleasure of dying to 98. Somehow. This is still my most questionable fail to date. Anyway, Firewall has a really great flow going on once you pass the pre-drop, which is really the part that drags the level down. Not only does it carry most of the difficulty, but it also pales in quality compared to the rest. The level starts off low with a lot of triples, like way too many. And then a very hard ball part, which also goes on for too long. And then a cube with some weird and tough timings. The experience can get a bit grindy and boring, but overall it's still a great level. 9 Theory might be Hinds' oldest demon, built before even 9 Step. However, with that in mind, it plays surprisingly well. I found myself enjoying this level a lot more than I thought I would. But I think most of that enjoyment is due to the fact that I came back to beat this after a year of initially starting it and suddenly found the level so much easier. Of course, it has some really frustrating parts. The first UFO can easily hinder any enjoyment you might have with this level. Without a doubt, this is one of Hinds' hardest demons. Night Terrors is yet another Hinds banger. This one is a collab with Lugian, or Lugian, and these two creators have a very similar approach to making levels, so this naturally comes out as one cohesive level. Like most of Hinds' levels, this one has great attention to detail in every aspect that makes for a great experience. Gameplay, design, song and name all complement each other. Like for example, the level has these monsters and ghosts stalking you all the way through the level, which is why it's called Night Terrors. It's very simple, I know, but it's little things like this that really makes everything come together in the end. Psychosis is easily my favorite Hinds demon. It might even be my favorite level of all time. This level is 1 minute and 48 seconds, and I usually don't like levels that are over a minute and a half, because I suck at endurance. But this level is an exception, because there's so much Hinds goodness packed in this one level. The gameplay is synced so well to the song, and it makes every input feel so intuitive and impactful. The level has a bizarre and over-the-top color mix that matches the name and the song as well. There's just so much to love about the level. Who would have thought that a game where you push one button could be so fun? yeah, I don't really know what to say about this one. The level is a collab with Aeon, where he built the first half and Hinds built the second half. At least that's what I think. It's a 1.6/1.7 style level. I'm not too sure about that. And it definitely has its moments. But also a lot of ball gameplay with transparent spikes, which I guess fits the era this level is meant to portray. But it's still annoying as hell. This one is just not really for me. So this song is copyrighted, and apparently the song detection has gotten an upgrade, so high pitching the songs no longer flies. And I couldn't find a cover that would actually sync up with the level, so I have to speak over this one. You can probably find another completion which uses the song on YouTube if you care, or just go and beat the level yourself, because this one is for sure a recommendation from me. Cyber Chaos is the final boss of Hinds levels. This one is a very difficult insane demon, and it challenges you on all game modes, except the robot and spider, which are not included, as this was built in 1.9 and then touched up and released in 2.0. The level has a slick design, satisfying gameplay to learn and play from zero, like all good Hinds demons have. The only thing I can put a finger on here is the drop is quite inconsistent, but at the same time the gameplay is clear and fun as hell, so it's really a nitpick. I'm really hard pressed to say anything else about this. It's just good. It's so good in fact that I decided to make this my new hardest demon back in the day and spend over 2 weeks on this, but never got tired of playing it. The difficulty is pretty consistent most of the way through. The drop is a little bit harder than the rest, but it's not too much. Oh man, I just love that bit of the level, it's so good. Anyway, where was I? And the ending is on the contrary easier than the rest, but it's not too easy either. It's a very forgiving ending, which is appropriate when the song slows down as well. Shit, this level is long, isn't it? Like, I don't know, I'm just sitting here recording me saying a bunch of random shit to just like make sure that I have enough, because I don't want to go back, just wanted to do it like one take. Come on, end soon. I don't know what else to say, man. I didn't plan on saying too much about these levels, I just wanted to keep it short and to the point. And now I have to speak over it and it's so annoying. Oh, thank God it's finally over. Spectrum Switch was finished with the help of Black Op, and this really sticks out as being different, but that's certainly not a bad thing. The level doesn't really have that usual Hinds ball gameplay, and the learning curve is a bit steeper on this one. Learning each part is enjoyable, however, and not overly frustrating. And it also has some more straightforward parts to mix it up. This one is one of those levels that just clicks for you, and you suddenly start dominating. Hinds hits the gameplay sweet spot with this. It's both fun to learn and play from zero. He really hits that more often than not, but this level is a great example of this. Visually speaking, Diffuse is one of the most polished levels, and inspired by the song, it uses a color scheme of different shades of yellow and purple. Hinds tends to use a wide variety of colors, so this helps the level stand out. Both Lugia and Black was also in on this one. Hinds built all of the gameplay of course, but the design was built by 3 different creators, and if I didn't know this, I really would have thought it was built by one person. Pixel thingy is a thing, I guess, to quote Hinds. Despite feeling like you found the ID for this in a Kinder Egg, the level doesn't skip a beat on the gameplay, which is as imaginative as it is fun. Some might take issue with the rather cruel memory part at the end, which comes a bit out of nowhere, but I don't mind it. It actually gives you visual cues to help memorize it. At least one block in each cluster is outlined, so seeing where one of them is can help you remember what the block you gotta jump on is. It's a neat idea, and all it takes is a bit of patience to learn this. Yet again, I have to speak over this, but hey, at least the video isn't as long now. Mastermind was definitely a worthwhile comeback. This one is arguably his best level of all time. The level has a really fresh take on gameplay, with this being a half memory, half skill based demon. There's just so many imaginative parts, which are a treat to play. Like the UFO at the start and the ship halfway through. The memory parts are also built to be very fair, like in the memory wave where you can see the path you're supposed to take when you die. Everything is just fun to learn in this level. Visually, the level is also the most polished to date, from the amazing color mixing to the effects. This level also has custom backgrounds, which is the first time I believe Hinds has used them, or at least the first time he has spent a lot of effort on them. This one is really cool. I'm totally not just dragging this out at this point. Hinds have really come a long way from Breakthrough, which was already pretty damn good, to Mastermind, which is in my opinion one of the most well-rounded levels in this game. If Psychosis wasn't as orgasmic to play, this one would easily be my favorite. I really hope that Hinds will one day surprise everyone with a new upload out of nowhere, but that's probably unlikely since he has suffered from demotivation with this game for a while now, which is why so many of his levels has been finished with the help of other creators. It's unfortunate, but at the same time, it has ensured that all of Hinds' demons have their own unique personality to them. Each of these levels feel like they have a reason to exist. This is true of even the experimental levels, which still have a certain level of quality to them that makes you appreciate them, even though you might dislike parts of them. At least that's the case for me. I've also tried to rank all of the levels based on the difficulty and my overall enjoyment with the levels. This was very difficult to do, but I feel happy with the placements now. Thank you for watching this unusual video from me. Have a great day.